Afternoon, it's Martin's Engine Services. Well, it's Wednesday, so it's time for the old What's Happening in the Workshop on a Wednesday. Been quite an intriguing morning so far. Oh, yes, there's the trailer. I'll get onto that in a minute. Been having a look at a 2010 1.4 VW Golf. It's got the turbo TSI engine. Been running fine, belongs to a regular customer. They've had it for 12 years now. It gets regular maintenance and regular use, and so it's about 134,000, 135,000 miles. In the last year or so, in particular last few months, it really has been consuming a vast amount of oil, but it doesn't smoke, there's no external leaks. So I carried out a little investigation today, and it's kind of a twofold problem. There is a little bit of clear signs that the piston rings are starting to get worn, because there is some oil on the side of the pistons just around the very edge, and they're starting to clean off a little bit. And there is quite a lot of oil build-up in the turbo intake pipe. And it's nice clean oil, and that's obviously working its way down to the throttle body, and the engine's sucking it in. So there is also a one-way valve, like a crankcase breather pipe, actually connected directly to the turbo. But there's no oil coming down that, and that valve was closing under pressure. There's no problem with boost. The manifold pressures are good. All the barrow pressures, barometric air pressure's fine, and boost pressure's fine. So it performs absolutely great. There's no smoke or anything. So there's just a little bit of oil going through the turbo. You can just about reach in and get hold of the end of the turbo shaft, and there is just a tiny little bit of movement in there. Probably just sort of borderline them as much as you want. The turbo sounds okay, but clearly that's worn and a little bit of ring problems. By all accounts, these engines do suffer with that. So they're just going to keep an eye on it for now. Although, one thing that's worth mentioning, Volkswagen do actually specify quite a high oil consumption for these engines from new, being 1 litre per 2,000 kilometres or 1,200 miles. But it's probably doing sort of 1.5 times that now. But he's aware of the problem now, and he's going to keep an eye on it. So it is one of those, unfortunately. It's hardly worth going to the trouble of replacing it. I mean, quite obviously, the cost of replacing that turbo and all the associated bits and pieces with it is going to far exceed probably what the value of the car, and close to the value of the car is. So for now, he's going to keep an eye on it. So, what else have you been up to? Well, on the trailer front, after the 752nd redesign, I finally have come up with what will be the final way I'm going to assemble this. I'm machined up these two bits of tube now, and they are a good fit in the wheels. And this is just a temporary bit of tube I've gaffer taped in the middle to hold it all together. I'm using these brackets again, but I'm going to put some crossbars in, and then I can set the brackets on that, weld them to the tubes. There'll be a washer welded on here, so the wheel runs up against it, and then obviously a washer and a split pin in the end. This then makes it nice and easy. It's the wheels from the outside. They'll be inboard of the frame, so no problems. It's easier to make it tipping as well, because the drawbar will come up here and be attached to basically a hinge, and there'll be a latching mechanism here. So that solves all the problems of me overthinking it and trying to over-engineer it, etc., etc. So it took me so long to figure this out. It's quite laughable, really. So I've made all sorts of trailers over the years, and car trailers, box trailers, and advertising ones, and all sorts of bits and pieces. But this one, the simplest trailer of the lot, that's really throwing things out. So I have now come up with the final solution, and that's what it's going to be. And that's that. There's no change in that one. Now, took advantage of a little bit of sunshine today, and fired up the old tractor leaf sweeper assembly, and spent about half an hour or so giving a thorough tidy up to the garden. And of course the wind's blowing now, so there's obviously the leaves coming back. But if you pick them up as they come down, so every couple of days, you stay ahead of it. Only issue that's developed today, it's not doing it now, it's cooled down, but I think the bearings in the power takeoff shaft, they're not squeaking now, may be running a bit dry because there's something squeaking when this pulley's rotating. Excuse me. I took the belt off and took the sweeper off, but it still does it. So, some investigation. Now, unfortunately, there's a large pulley under there that runs very close to the transmission and it's bolted on. So I may have to drop the whole of the transmission out the back just to get the pulley off to get the bearing housing out, which would be an absolute pain, but never mind. Sweeper itself's going really good. No problem there. You see it's all nice and muddy in there now and little bits of grass flicked up everywhere, but working well. Working very well. Got to make one small modification to the collector. It sits on its pivots here and you link up the bars to there for tipping. But what tends to happen when it's sitting there, it tends to pivot back a bit and it leaves a bit of a gap here in relation to where it sits. It's supposed to sit inboard of here and it tends to sit out here and the leaves are escaping. So I did a scientific little bit of a test modification today by tying a piece of string to it. Well, doesn't matter which side. I tied a piece of string around the support and to the sweeper, and that's cured it. Because I noticed when I've been going up and down, I've been leaving two nice, neat little trails of leaves out of each side. And I thought, huh? So that's a minor modification. There's that plate I cleaned up and fitted, and that stops all the leaves pinging up on the transmission. Now, on the subject of the transmission, there's no leakage anymore at all. It's working fine. You run about quarter throttle and you put it at just above walking speed and it's fine. It's absolutely fine. It does show signs of slipping a little bit on a very tight turn when you're obviously dragging the roller, assembly. But other than that, it's fine. So you can go through that by just increasing the speed a fraction or the revs a fraction. So I'm going to say about half an hour today, and it never even warmed up the oil. So the transmission case was still cold. So it will do exactly what I want it to do. So there is a perfect point where it works fine. So it's not breathing oil anywhere. It's not leaking hypoid from the other side of the gearbox or transmission from anywhere. And I suppose the biggest news of all is the tyres are all now staying up. It's a good result. Engine's running beautifully. There's no problem with that. The alternator charging system's working lovely. So everything on here is good. So it's proving to be very successful. I mean, there's bound to be the odd bearing that will fail, and they've been stationary for years. And as I said in previous videos about this, I don't think the PTO had ever been used because the pulley still had like the coating on it. So the poor bearings probably seized naturally. So it's a lovely, well, it was a lovely day. Now there's a big cloud arrived. I've got to do some repairs to the roof of my garage over there. This garage at the side here where the Morris Minor lives, there's a leak further back. I patched it up, as you can see, a few years ago with a sheet and a couple of pallets, and haven't quite got round to fixing it yet. And I've started building a little shed on the end of there for this tractor to live in. But I went out there this morning to have a little play with that before my customer arrived, and it decided to rain. So I thought, right, we'll leave that. And it's also a bit of a cold wind. So I'm going to spend the rest of the afternoon and I'm going to have a go at that bearing housing, see what's what. And that's probably about my lot today. So I'm rather pleased with how this has worked out, and I'm fully expecting the odd minor technical problem. But considering what could have gone wrong and what has, we can't really grumble. So that's what I'm up to. I've got at some point, said the other day, a Vauxhall Vivaro van coming in with a very low performance and an engine noise and whatnot. So that should be with me next few days. So that could be a rather interesting one to look at. I've got a few other little bits and pieces in the pipeline to do, but not a lot else. But to be quite truthful, I don't really feel like doing a lot at the moment because this cold is really hanging on. But hey ho, mustn't complain. So that's what I'm up to. So please like and subscribe. And thanks very much indeed for watching. So viewing numbers are going up again, going very nicely. So I'm really pleased about that. So thank you very much indeed, and bye for now.